Hey, good morning, fellow YouTubers. So, I guess I was lazy because I was home for, let's see, gosh, I was home for over 4 days before I brought out the hose and some Soapy Suds. You know, I don't know, it's kind of anticlimactic. Washing the bike after a nice long road trip that you have good memories from. I don't know. It's like when I look at the dirty bike, it's still part of that trip to me. And there's all that residue from where I've been in layers of dirt and bugs and whatever else. And I don't know, it's kind of sad for me to wash it off because I guess I still got the photos. But I just went hiking this morning and I met this nice guy. I'll just say his initials, PG. That's his initials. And he's my age, exact same age. He has a son a little bit older than me. And he was half Hispanic and half Navajo, Native American, Indian, whatever, politically correct, geez. But so we start talking, and we both have our dogs off leash. The way we meet is I walk up behind him, he doesn't see me, and I have my dog off leash, and he has his dog off leash, and he's stretching. He has no idea that I'm coming towards him with my dog off leash, and I say, "Excuse me, sir, but your dog needs to be on the leash." And without even looking at me, he just says, "What?" So I just repeat it again, a little bit more authoritative. And he kind of gets this like irritated look on his face, and he stands up from his stretches and he looks at me, and then he looks at the dog and he just starts busting up, and he's like, "I thought I was going to have to really deal with one of these people." So then we both laugh and talk about how our dogs are really good on voice command. And his really was. A lot of dogs have a hard time understanding pointing. Like when you point at something, they'll usually look at your hand and your finger and go, "What?" So it's a very rare dog that when you point at something, looks at where your finger is pointing down the trail, down the road. But he saw a rabbit, literally about probably 50 yards away, half a football field, little white cottontail. And he called his dog over and he pointed at it, and the dog looked down the trail. I was really impressed, and then ran like a shot out of hell towards that rabbit. But as we're walking and talking, he says, "Isn't it crazy what we're going through, with the whole society and Black Lives Matter and everything?" I said, "Yeah, it's really sad. And I feel that it's hurting race relations. I didn't feel race relations were bad before, really, not that bad, except for a little bit of tension of African Americans towards my ethnicity, Anglo-Saxon. But he said, "God, you won't believe what happened to me last week." So I'm in traffic, and it was my turn to go, and this woman in her car started going even though it was my turn, so I just went a little faster so that I could get my spot. It's like one car from the left lane, one car from the right lane going into a bottleneck, and it was his turn. But he saw this other car was trying to take his turn, so he sped up a little bit, and now they're stopped in traffic. This girl gets out of her car and starts yelling at him racial stuff, and he's half Hispanic and half American Indian, and so he starts yelling back. This African American woman, he said about 90 pounds, and tries to entice him to get out of the car and get in a fist fight with her, and he yells back, "I'm 230 pounds, woman. I'm not gonna get up and beat you up. I know that's what it sounds like you'd like, but I'm not gonna do that." So she takes a Coke can out of her car and throws it at his car and hits his door really loudly, so he knows it put a ding in the car. And then he like yells something else at her, and then she does it again. And he's stuck in traffic. He can't go anywhere. And he says, if you do that again, I am going to get out of the car. And sure enough, the traffic started moving at that time, and the issue was done. But that's a pretty sad state of affairs. And then I shared the incident that I shared in one video where I was going up PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, on my motorcycle, and I stopped to get some gasoline. And there's two African American females in their young 20s blocking the doorway with their backs towards the door. So I said, excuse me. They completely ignored me. But then the woman on the left leaned forward to grab something off the concession stand, which gave me enough room to step by without touching her. I said, excuse me. I, was polite. Then she moved out of the way a little bit inadvertently without actually trying to make room for me. And so I took advantage of that room that I was now afforded so that I could go down and, do my business. And she just starts cussing me out, white this, effing that, And I just totally ignore it. And then she confronts me again when I get up in line. She's right in front of me and literally puts her face about 2 inches from my face and starts giving me racial epithets. And I just looked at her forehead and around and just acted like she was invisible. And she's got her muscle right there, her two males that were with her, and her also one female friend. But so it would have been 4-on-1, and I'm sure it would have gotten physical if I had said anything. So I don't really think that this is what we want in society. I don't even think that this is what Black Lives Matter wants. I don't think anyone wants where African Americans are allowed to go and beat up on anyone that they want to and look for reasons and try to entice people into physical altercations. I really don't think that that's what this movement's about. And I know white people right now aren't supposed to say anything. They can do just about anything to you that they want, and you're not allowed to say anything. But I don't really think that that's where society should be moving, or that that's really what any movement wants. I mean, maybe Antifa, I don't know. But I mean, that just can't be right, where one ethnic group is allowed to be assaulted, and that's considered okay by society or by that ethnic group. So not really sure what I'm saying, because common sense is something that we have to actually talk about these days. I don't know. Common sense doesn't really seem to be something that we used to have to explain and talk about in a lot of detail. I just sprayed my dog. So it's a little confusing. It's a very disheartening. And, my whole life felt like race relations were always slowly getting better. But I remember in the 90s with Rodney King kind of being shocked when the whole city erupted in riots. And, I was like, I was like 21 or somewhere around there.
I guess 5 to 10 minutes of drying.
All right. It turned up to be 15 minutes drying. Leave a comment.